This video is for Greek class, and it follows very closely along with your Croy textbook for chapter 23, so you might want to grab that textbook and follow along as I talk you through the subjunctive mood. So far, you know the indicative mood, you know some infinitives, which we're coming back to in a future chapter. We're kind of treating participles as a mood. That's not exactly right, but we're doing that anyways. And now you're learning about the subjunctive mood. I'm going to read all the things in this overview because these are the main points. The subjunctive is sometimes called the mood of probability because the subjunctive conveys things like doubt, expectation, volition, intention, desire. The indicative expresses a reality, so the main verbs that you learned in chapters 9 through 16 in chapter 2. But the subjunctive expresses action that's potential or contingent, so if this happens, so that maybe we could, let us try this. And so it's got a couple of things that are unique to it. One is that it doesn't use oo to negate it. It uses this little word may. And so that's a very important word in this vocabulary. And the may is going to always help you know that you're not in the indicative. The present subjunctive, the best way to learn it is to learn the a-me. And it's literally the endings that you already know, just long. So o, ace, a, omen, ate, osin, instead of usi. And you can just add this to any then verb stem. So this is what it looks like in the luo. So luo, lues, lue, lu, omen, luete, lu, usi, but now lu, o, seen. So if I put it side by side, you can see on the left side the present active, and on the indicative, and on the right side the present active subjunctive. And so the left side would be like I destroy, and this is like if I destroy something, or I may want to destroy, or I wish to destroy. The subjunctive expresses this possibility, this probability, this intention, this hope. The middle passive, also same thing. It's just got a long of what you already know. So omai, a, itai, omatha, aste, ontai. See how it's just long? And again, if I put it then side by side with it, you'd see that it's just the long version of what you already know. There are aorist. So there's a past tense of the subjunctive. It doesn't have an epsilon augment, so this one is tricky because it looks like the future. But it's got long vowels, so after the I part, it's kind of recognizable. So luces, luce, lusomen, lucete, lusosin. And then the middle, lusomai, luce, lucetai, lusometha, luceste, lusontai. In a second, I'll tell you how you're going to be able to recognize the difference of those. You have the aorist passive, which has that theta, but again, no epsilon at the beginning, so lutho, luthase, luthe, luthomen, luthete, luthosine. To recognize the subjunctive, though, the chief characteristic is that it's got this long vowel. There's no augment, so no epsilon at the beginning or anything like that. Instead, here's what's going to help you the most, is the little words that you're going to learn in your vocab. Hina, which means in order that or so that. Hapos, which means in order that. Hatan, which means whenever, aeon, which means if, and any kind of combination with may, because may indicates that you're not in the indicative. So it's these little words before something that lets me know that I'm in the subjunctive, not so much recognizing the form itself, but I notice the words around it. So the word before it is going to tell me the whole phrase is in the subjunctive. Let me put it into play for you, and then you'll be able to see it. Because there's a number of different ways that this subjunctive appears. One of them is something that we don't really have in English, but there's these kind of like, in Greek, pretty common hortatory subjunctives, which means that the first person, plural, gets an exhortation. And so you'd have something like this, legomen pros ta tekna, kai par kalomen auta. I don't have a little word here to help me out. I'm just looking at the main words themselves, but I'm going to translate this something like, let us speak to the children. Not we speak, but let us speak. We want to speak to the children, and we want to comfort them. So that's why we say the let us, and that's a pretty common form of it. A second pretty common form of the subjunctive is the deliberative subjunctive, where you have questions, and so these are possibilities or desires, and they're in kind of, more like questioning phrases. So here's an example of this. E thelon, gnoskain, pos, lale sosai, to prophete. They wanted to know how they might speak to the prophet. The pos is what's helping me to know that I'm in the subjunctive, and the they might, this is now in the aorist, and the aorist goes along with the imperfect that was the first verb, so all this is in the past. They wanted to know, and they wanted to know this in the past, how they might speak to the prophet. You could have something that's a really strong negation. We call this an emphatic negation, which uses a double negative, so an oo and a may, to say that something will never ever happen or not happen at all. So me epete kaka perites metros mu. Epete is from apon, so one of those second aorists. So you've got the strange second aorist here with the long sounding there, but the ume is what really indicates to me that I'm in the subjunctive. And you translate this something like, you or y'all will never say bad things about my mother. Perites metros mu. Here's a fourth way that the subjunctive is used to express purpose. So typically with a hina or with a hapos, again, that's a common way to realize that you're in the subjunctive. So here's an example. Anabinomen pros ta hieron hina idomen tauta ta semea. Idomen is a second aorist as well because it's from adon. And now we saw in the past that we might see. So we're going up to the temple in order that we might see these signs. And so the hina is what's helping me know that I'm in the subjunctive. And then the fifth type of subjunctive that you see a lot is conditional clauses. So either future or present conditional clauses, typically introduced by aeon, which is another word that introduces the subjunctive all the time. Here's an example. Aeon hamartloi krazosin to kurio ha kurios apokrinete. And again, it's that aeon that's helping me know that krazosin is in the subjunctive. If, what? If sinners cry out to the Lord answers them. And so the first part is a conditional to the second part. These are the most common uses of the subjunctive. It's not an incredibly long chapter. It is an important chapter because this is a thing that happens in Greek quite a bit. If you have some questions, you could feel free to email them to me or bring them to class with you. I would encourage you maybe to watch this video a second time because I went through it kind of quickly because the forms are quite recognizable, and I think once you get rolling on some practice sentences, you'll be fine. But it'd be worthwhile to take a second look at this. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to try to answer those, or otherwise I look forward to talking with you about this in class. Okay, thanks.